Hey, vinyl community, it's Jason. It's Wednesday night. Wanted to make a video. You might notice I put something new in the background. I just kind of want to switch it up a little bit. My friend, I mentioned a couple videos ago, I went to an art fest where I played some records, and my friend had a booth, and he's an artist. I've been best friends for like 20 years. I think he's really talented. And I have all the stuff in the back here is all from him. I have a bunch of his stuff in my house. I think I got 3 big ones. Yeah, I just wanted to show this one. He does. He mostly paints. I mean, he paints everything, but his big thing is he does like dolly style, like surf inspired, like surfboards melting over branches and stuff. And then he does his calls it like the Icon series, where he does a lot of musicians, mostly. It was like Johnny Cash. He did a Bowie. He did a Lennon, Gwen Stefani, Marley. So yeah, this is Mason Jennings. If you don't know Mason Jennings, he's like, I call him like the newer version of Bob Dylan. He's from Minneapolis. He kind of does like that folk country. Just like an amazing songwriter. Not really known for his like great vocals or anything, but I like the way he sings. Actually, he's got this kind of like twang to it. But yeah, Mason Jennings. I love him. Check him out. Unfortunately, he didn't start putting out stuff on vinyl until maybe like his 6th album, which I mean, his newer stuff's great too, but I really like his first few albums. Plus, it's just kind of nostalgic, reminds me of college. So, anyways, I was going to do this video this weekend, but I wanted to do it tonight actually. So, last video I did all the stuff I got on the internet recently. This is all stuff I found out in the wild. So I'm just gonna, in the last couple months, just gonna clear out my my cache here, and I can just start putting these away. But the reason I wanted to do this tonight is, so I got, this is a record. I actually got this one on the internet. This one just came on Monday. This is Kaja Bonet, Child Queen. This one actually officially gets released on Friday. So the reason I wanted to show this was because I looked it up on Discogs when I got it, and people are already starting, the sellers are already putting sealed copies on for double the price. So which is, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's sketch, but she actually still has copies on her website for the normal price. I think I paid $20 for it. So if you like, this is like neo soul, I guess you'd call it. It's very spacey. It's not like up tempo, funky soul at all. I'd say it's closer to ballads, but it's not really ballads. It's very spacey. She's a classically trained pianist, so she sings, she plays, I think almost all the instrumentation. I'm sure she produces as well. So she's extremely talented. So yeah, I would check her out. I think she's got a couple songs from this album on Spotify, but if you go to npr.org, you can listen to the whole thing. So if you do like it, I mean, she's got, I would say, because she's got 3, I think there's 3 pressings. I believe this is the first press, which this one comes on, peach vinyl. And I'm not a huge colored vinyl fan. I actually prefer black vinyl, but this is the first press, so unless it's the first press, then I'll buy the colored vinyl. And this one also actually comes with a 45 as well. So none of the other ones come with the 45. So yeah, check her out if you like it. I recommend probably purchasing it in the next couple of days. I think I checked a couple of days ago, there was like 50 copies left, and now today there's like 20. So you can go to her website. I think it's through Bandcamp that they put this out on. So yeah, anyways, check it out. And if you're in LA, if you're LA local, she's having a record release on the 26th, so in a couple weeks. So I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to try to get this signed if I can. I'm going to throw this on. Alright, so that was the only one from the internet. The rest are going to be from the wild. So these next batch is from a kind of a new estate sale place that I've been hitting up. It kind of opened, I don't know, I responded to an ad maybe a couple months ago. The ad just said that there was 8,000 records. So I hit them up, and it turned out to be an estate sale place, but they weren't open. But I guess they had a grand opening like a couple weeks before, where they opened for like one day, and the guy said he blew out he said he probably sold like 1,000 records, and he had some pretty rare stuff. I mean, at least from the picture, he had like First Press and Nirvana. He just had, I'm sure he had some great stuff. He said sold a ton of classic rock, but the collection was mostly from a DJ. So it was a ton of 12-inch singles. But I was there, he let me in, I was there by myself. So 8,000 records. Took me about 2 hours because they weren't, you can't flip them this way. They were all on the shelf like really tight, so I had to like pull them out. So anyways, I went through the whole thing. I found a couple gems. I think I've gone back a few times and I pulled out a couple more later. So I think I've got maybe like 25, 26, and I probably spent about $100. Decent prices. He charges like $3-4 a record. He doesn't really know too much about. I mean, he knows if it's like, he knows more like the classic rock side. But there, unfortunately, I guess there was no classic rock. So this is all like jazz-based, kind of soul-based stuff. So I picked up a bunch. I'm gonna try to go through these pretty quick. A lot of these are pretty common, just kind of filling in some gaps. So anyways, this is the first one. This is Charles Lloyd Guida. This was an interesting one. He actually had he has a turntable there, so I was able to listen to some while I was flipping through all the records. So I put this one on. This one's just on A&M. This is an interesting one. I know I had a Charles Lloyd record, a live album, but the cover just really intrigued me, so I had to listen to it. I don't know a lot of the musicians on here, and I kind of looked it up, and there's like one guy from the Headhunters. There was one guy who played with Horace Tapscott. I don't know these people, but this is pretty interesting. The first side is kind of how it looks. It's very like Eastern influenced. A lot of crazy instruments. I don't even know some of the instruments on here. An Ashish Kanzarod, a Dolak. So there's just some weird instruments on here. So the first side is pretty much Eastern based, and there's some fusion mixed in here, which is interesting. So it kind of changes from like this very like spiritual, slow, and then all of a sudden it starts to get a little funky, which may be from the Headhunters influence. But the second side is a little bit more fusion, and the last song is kind of almost straight ahead. I'd say like more towards a rock song. So this is a really interesting record. I'm glad to pick this up. Charles Lloyd Guida. This next one, this is another jazz record. This is Azar Lawrence, Summer Solstice. This one was cool because it's actually KPFK, which is so it's a promo copy. This is the radio station I like to listen to, so that was kind of interesting. So I had to pick it up. It was Prestige, white label, so can't go wrong. I didn't really know too much about Azar Lawrence, but when I looked at who else played on here, there's a lot of Brazilians on here. There was Dom Salvador, he's a piano player he's got one album for sure, a Brazilian album that I'm chasing, and he's on a couple of he plays piano a lot on some of the other albums I'm actually after. And then there's also a lot of Brazilian percussion on here, like cuica, and I think there's some berimbau. This is cool. So this was a lot of Brazilian influence. This one, I don't know. This one took me a while. Didn't really like it at first. It's kind of has kind of a contemporary feel to it, which I'm not a huge fan of, like contemporary jazz. So, but it's definitely got some really great parts in it. And if I'm not so nitpicky, just listening to it, it's a pretty good listen. So it's happy to get that one. So next one I got was Stevie Wonder, Music of My Mind. Just filling in the Stevie Wonder gap, I guess. I have this album, and I thought I had a decent copy because I bought a lot of my stuff from collections, and especially when I first started collecting, I was just putting everything up on the wall and I didn't even listen to a lot of it. It was kind of scratched, but I'm like, I don't really have it, so I'll keep it. So I actually got a mint copy of this maybe last year, and I didn't realize my other copy was so trashed, and so I traded it to the guy in Brazil, and then when I went to play my copy, it was just so beat I couldn't even play it. So So I had to find other copies. This is nice. This is classic Stevie Wonder music in my mind. This is Al Green. This is his first album. I don't even know. I think maybe it's just self-titled. I'm not sure. But this is the second press. The first press is actually pretty rare. I think it's maybe, I'm talking like triple digits. I had this, but I had a weird later pressing of it, so it was nice to get this. These are all like pretty clean. These aren't like near mint, but most of these are pretty good, like solid VG plus. So this is his first album. His first album's a little interesting. It's kind of more like funky, it sounds more like the James Brown than more of the like typical Al Green. I think maybe the later albums he started to kind of get his sound, his typical Al. When you hear a song, you're like, oh, this is Al Green. So, but this is a good one to add to the collection. This is Sugar Belly Sugar Mangere. I had to pick this up. This is a Jamaican Studio One press. It's just pretty much just reggae music, but this is good. I don't really have too many reggae records, and I did enjoy this. This is a good relaxing album. This is Spirits. This is Leon Thomas, Spirits Known and Unknown. This is his first album on Flying Dutchman. So yeah, I like Flying Dutchman's got some pretty good stuff. I know there's some classics. I don't see Flying Dutchman too much. Mostly Lonnie Liston Smith is the Flying Dutchman I've seen. So this one, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I'm not a huge fan of jazz with vocals. Especially he kind of does this like yodeling thing, which is just a little too much sometimes. But the music on here is great. It kind of reminds me of like Gene McDaniels, like before he kind of got a little bit more political, like in his earlier '60s stuff, the way that he sings and the arrangements and stuff. But there's some songs on here, but the music is really good. I think I read somewhere that Pharoah Sanders is on here, even though he's not credited. So maybe that's why the music's so good. So yeah, this was it's a good pickup. I got these for cheap, so if I end up not liking it, it's definitely, I could get a little bit for it, more than I paid. So I'm not showing everything too. There's a bunch of stuff I took because the record's so cheap. I just kind of took a chance on a bunch of stuff I didn't know, and a bunch of it I ended up not liking. So I kind of just having a pile to get rid of it. This is Bobby Womack, Understanding. This is my first playable Bobby Womack record. I think it's maybe like third or fourth. It's a pretty early album. Bobby Womack's one of those guys I didn't really know too much about him, but I started seeing him show up showed up on like Gabber Zabo albums. It just kind of starts showing up on people's albums you wouldn't expect. He's a good rhythm guitarist. He writes pretty good music. So this is a solid soul album, guitar-driven soul album. So yeah, this is on and United Artists. I usually like the albums on United Artists. So the cover on this is pretty jacked. It's like someone taped all the way around it. I don't know why they did that, but so yeah, happy to have that one in the collection. So this is Curtis Mayfield, Back to the World. This one's actually a German press, which was kind of interesting. There was a lot of German. It's on Buddha, but there was a lot of German presses there, which was kind of interesting. Like I said, it was just like the guy. So they state sale. The guy buys. He goes and like bids on abandoned storage units. So yeah, I guess this one had a bunch of DJ equipment. So this guy was definitely a DJ. But yeah, I don't have any Curtis Mayfield. I've seen his records. I've missed Superfly a few times. I've never gotten it. I'm at a garage sale and there's someone in front of me and I see him flip it and take it. So I've definitely been looking for some Curtis Mayfield. I think this is his third album. I think his first two are the real good classics. So unfortunately I don't have those. This is the first one. This one's super clean. So still solid album. This is Erykah Badu, her live album. Tone Scott showed this on his Sublime Media's 1,000 Subs contest, the Rare Records. I didn't realize that this was actually valuable. This is a decent copy. It's like it needs to be clean for sure, but it's definitely playable as is. Maybe a VG Plus copy. the cover's got a little bit of wear on it. But I bought this. I was really excited. I saw this. I like Erykah Badu. I've seen her play a couple times. My wife is a huge Erykah Badu fan. And I was at this place I left work a little bit early because I knew this is gonna 8,000 records is kind of a bit to handle. I was there for like over 2 hours, and I was coming home a little bit later than I usually do, and I knew my wife wouldn't be too thrilled, so I was kind of stoked to get this because I was hoping it would ease a little bit of that tension from me showing a little bit late, but. Yeah, it's a solid album. Erykah Badu's great. This is cool because it's got Rimshot and Apple Tree, which were her two big hits, like off her first and second albums. And I'm stoked that this actually has a little bit of value to it too, which is always nice. So yeah, this is a solid album. This one, this is Lonnie Liston Smith and the Cosmic Echoes, Visions of a New World. This one's on Flying Dutchman. So I think there was a couple other Lonnie Liston Smith records there, but they were just a little bit too beat, so I didn't purchase them. But I think this is maybe the third or fourth. I don't know his stuff. I'm kind of on the edge. I like it. I think he's a good piano player, but it's a little bit too. I don't know what like contemporary sounding a little bit, but it's got like that kind of that 80s funk sound to it, which I'm not a huge fan, so it kind of, for me, it's on that edge. But there's always one really good song, so that's. I think that actually this one has two good ones. This one has a Chance for Peace, and then the last song on the B side, which is I think it's the last song. Maybe it's Summer Nights. I don't know. So anyway, it's a good one. I think I have all but the first couple of his stuff in the Cosmic Echoes, so I'm still happy to get this one. So those are the ones those are the highlights that I picked up from I guess they're called the new Honey Hole, the estate sale place. I do stop by there pretty much every Friday. It's getting a little far. Sometimes I'll just pull a record or two just because I don't want to go home empty-handed. But yeah, that's the stuff, the good stuff. So these next couple, this is from a collection. I kind of talked about it a little bit last time. This guy had like 60 records for sale. I showed up and they were like all pretty trashed. There was maybe out of the 80, there was probably maybe 10 there's probably like 5 that were super clean, like near mint, maybe like 5 they were like, decent. So I was really bummed. I mean, he gave me a fat discount. I'm like, oh, I can't pay. They're too trashed. So I got them for half of what he wanted. But I did get a couple good albums out of it. I got my money's worth for sure. So this is one of the records. This is a surprise. I had no idea what this was. Fortunately, it was one of the cleaner records. This is Shikakchas. This is from 1972. This is on Avco. I'm a little bummed because the U.S. version has this like, I don't even know. It's like a carved wooden guy, but these guys. This is a Belgian band. They're like kind of like Afro, kind of like Cuban kind of sound. But their European presses actually have like this like, I don't know if she's naked. She's topless. You can't really see, but she's got this huge afro. It's just like a really super cool trippy cover. So yeah, this is like Afro, Latin kind of stuff. There is a few songs that are more soul. They actually have a girl singer. But I think this is the album that it's kind of sought after of them. So it's good. I mean, it's a good listen. I enjoyed it. So this was a good find. I had no idea what this was. I mean, the cover was intriguing when I saw it. I definitely wanted to check it out as soon as I got home. So yeah, these guys are pretty good. I think this is definitely their best album. They had another one this is from 72. They had one from 1970 as well. That was Jungle Fever maybe, which is also pretty good. So this is from the same collection. This is the one record that the reason I bought the whole collection. This is Cleveland Eaton, Plenty Good Eatin'. This is on Black Jazz. So, and this is pretty clean. I've actually had to clean it twice. I I don't know if anyone noticed else, these black jazz records, for some reason, because I actually have another one too, and they have a couple scuff marks, but no scratches or anything, and they don't play. They play worse than they look for sure. This one is playing okay after I cleaned it twice, so maybe my machine was dirty when I cleaned it the first time. But so I'm glad to have this. This is cool. This he played bass in Ramsey Lewis trio as well. So his sound is very distinct. Like he just has like this pop in his bass. I've kind of explained it before, but it's always nice to pick up a black jazz. And this one kind of grew on me. I didn't really like it at first. I think because of the big song on here. What was it? I don't know this song. Maybe it's "Are You Out There Somewhere Caring?" I don't know. I can't remember. Giles Peterson had it on his like black jazz mix. But the intro starts off with the same bass line as "Papa Was a Rolling Stone," so I don't know, that always turns me off when I hear a song that kind of sounds like it's the exact same bass line, so it kind of turned me off. But I did listen to this the other day when I was studying. I just threw it on the background and I really liked it, so I think I just needed a couple more listens and just kind of getting that bias out of my head, of not judging it for having the same bass line. But yeah, so I'm happy to have this. This is a good record. So this one is like a one-off. This is probably one of the last collection I bought before I spun records at my friend's show. I sold some records too, and I sell records out of my garage. When I buy collections, I'll just post and people come over and buy stuff. So I'd sold a lot of like the desirable stuff already, so I didn't have any like that desirable stuff left. So I kind of was just hunting, trying to get some collections before the show. So I went to this one person's house. They were having a garage sale the same weekend that I was going to be at the festival, so I just emailed them and said, hey, I'm not going to be around next weekend. You know, if you don't mind, if you're willing, I'll come check them out, before. And she said, yeah, sure, come over tomorrow or whatever. So I went, and they were moving, and they weren't record collectors, but they weren't selling all their records. They just didn't want to take them all they were moving out of state. So yeah, it was just kind of like, and the stuff was pretty beat. I mean, it was all like stuff it was all playable, but it was like stuff they had pieced together from garage sales and thrift stores and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's just a hodgepodge of stuff. But anyways, they had one reason I really, really wanted to buy it. They had some decent stuff that I could sell for $5 or whatever. But they had Iron Maiden Killers, which my friend Theo, the one who paints, he's a huge, huge Iron Maiden fan, and he actually has a painting like this size of the Killers, like an original. It's so trippy. I'll put it in the down in the notes or whatever when I post this video. It's so good. But every time I find Iron Maiden records, I buy them for him. So I think I've given him like 3 or 4, but he never had the Killers, which is his favorite album, and he has a huge painting of it. So I had to buy the collection because I had to get that, and it was in decent condition. So, but the only other one I kept from that for myself is the Zombies, and this record is actually pretty beat. This is probably like maybe in a G. I mean, there's no like deep scratches, but it's just like scuffed up beyond belief. But it actually plays really, really well. I mean, it's got some crackles, but nothing like overwhelming at all. Like I have records that look way better that play much worse. So I've never seen a Zombies record out in the wild, so it was cool. And I think this is their first album. The U.S. press, I believe the European presses had a different cover and track listing. So it's cool to get that. It's not worth like a ton, but this is on Parrot. I listened to it tonight. It's really good. I think they might have only had 3 albums. I don't know. Obviously looking for the big one, Odyssey. I think I've never seen that, but definitely want it. So this is another one I got from a different collection I bought earlier in the year. I definitely paid a lot for this collection. I met this estate sale guy who now he gets a good. He doesn't like sell estates out of people's houses. He'll just go and then he knows people who buy stuff, so he'll call people and say, hey, I got this he's got someone who buys silverware, someone who buys records. So he'll call me and say, hey, I got this thing of records. And so I went, and there was a lot of good stuff. I mean, it was a ton of Beatles, but it was all super, super clean. But they wanted a ton for it. Like, you know, they had all the post-its. They looked them up all on eBay. They wanted like $20 a record. And I'm like, there's no way I'm paying $20 a record for. I think there was like 150 records. I'm like, I'm not paying that. So I got them down to, no, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was less than 100 records. It was maybe like 80 records. I got them down to like a couple $100. Which is a little more than I usually pay, but all the stuff was super clean. I ended up swapping out a ton, like almost my whole Beatles collection. It was all like super near mint. So this is one that I kept that I didn't have. So this is Miles Davis Live Evil, and this is the first press. So I've actually been looking for this record. I mean, this is on the Columbia. There's two records, but Hermeto Pascoale's on here, who's like my favorite Brazilian jazz musician. I think he actually did a couple of the compositions on here. I read up on it a while ago. Apparently, Miles Davis was known for kind of stealing. I say stealing, but so his musicians would write music, and then Miles Davis would kind of take credit for it. But apparently, I read later it wasn't Miles Davis' fault; it was the producer. So, anyways, but Hermeto Pascoale wrote a couple songs on here, and I think he plays piano on here. And this is a classic album. So you can kind of hear his influence a little bit. So this is definitely one of the Miles Davis records I really, really wanted. So I was really stoked to find this in really good condition. It's got a little bit of ring wear, but the albums themselves are just so nice. So here's I'll show this one first. This is the other Black Jazz album I got. I got this at that I go to this guy's house where I got the Dylan for $1. I bought this for $1. This guy just buys collections, and then every couple months, he's a collector. He'll just sell out of his garage, just sell everything. He has like usually about 10,000 records every time he does it. But he's got these boxes on his driveway of just dollar stuff, and I always just flip to the dollar stuff first because he'll throw stuff in there. Maybe the record looks a little dirty, or you know it's got some scuffs. If it's not like super, super clean, he doesn't know who it is, he'll just throw it out there. So I found some just epic records. Maybe the covers just beat up, or anyway. So yeah, so it was nice to get this one. This one was I don't know, I didn't like it at first. I think it's because of the vocals on here, but I listened to it online. I don't know, and I was at work and I just wasn't feeling it, but I listened to it again at home when I was kind of more doing the same thing when I was studying, and I don't know, it was really good. The music on here is amazing. I think it was more the vocals that throw me off, but there really is not as much vocals as I thought when I first listened. Maybe I was just focusing too much on it. But I mean, this thing is this is another one. This is it's in pretty good shape. Like, there's a few scuffs, but it doesn't sound that good. I don't know if it's the Black Jazz or what. Maybe that's why he threw it in the dollar bin. I mean, it sounds okay. It looks like a VG Plus, but it probably plays closer to like a VG. But I'm gonna try to. I've only cleaned this one once. So I'll try to clean it again. Maybe it's the same as the other one. But the covers like, I mean, it's got some wear right here, but it's still in the shrink. So it's, and for $1, I mean, another Black Jazz. And I think yeah, this might be my third. So these two are my second and third Black Jazz albums. So super happy to get that. Yeah, I love this Casa Bonet. So this is the last one. This is Miles Davis Agartha. So I got this at the same place as the Doug Karn. Usually I'll dig through all the dollar records first. He's probably got like 30 boxes, about 100 records each. But I mean, they're in boxes, so they're easy to flip through. It takes me less than 45 minutes to flip through all those. Probably less. But then after that, I'll go in the garage, and he's got all the more expensive stuff, all the price. He's got a bunch of boxes of price. And it's mostly classic rock, which is why I usually don't go there, because I have a ton of classic rock. I'm not really looking for classic rock. And he's got some stuff on the wall, and usually I'll buy something on the wall every time. So yeah, I had to get, Miles Davis Agartha. I'd listened to like one or a couple songs before I bought it, but I've listened to it a few times. It's definitely It's kind of, it's definitely fusion. I like it. Stuff like this, unfortunately, is like I can't listen to it with my wife because she just doesn't like this kind of music. She likes more of the straight ahead, super chill kind of jazz. Where I definitely like the more. I like that too sometimes, but I kind of definitely like this kind of stuff more. Stuff that's a little bit more, especially the fusion stuff. With Miles Davis, this period is just amazing. Miles Davis, I prefer definitely his 70s stuff. Past In a Silent Way, which is probably my favorite Miles Davis record. Everything past that is just really good, up to the late 70s. So I was really excited to get this. This one, I mean, it was like $20. I usually go spend like $20 on that one. So on a record from the wall, I usually pull one. So yeah, super stoked to get that. So yeah, this is the last record. Just kind of wanted to show those few that I got on the wild, and just give the word out on the Kaja Bonet in case anyone's interested to get it before the prices get jacked up. And yeah, this is probably my last video for a few weeks. I got my test coming up, so I kind of want to disconnect and just concentrate on that solely. But yeah, and I do have a couple records coming. One Grail that I bought that I'll show next time. And hopefully the Kaja Bonet will be signed. So anyways, thanks for watching.